Is Poland preparing to become Europe's next nuclear-armed state? When a sitting president openly argues for building a nuclear arsenal aimed at Russia inside a continent already hosting an active war, the strategic balance of NATO's eastern flank begins to shift in ways that could redefine European security. This video examines what Poland's nuclear ambitions could mean, how realistic they are, and why the debate is intensifying now. If Warsaw moves toward nuclear capability, the consequences would extend far beyond its borders. A successful transition into a nuclear sharing role or an independent deterrent would alter NATO's force posture along the alliance's most exposed frontier. Failure, or a stalled attempt, could deepen regional insecurity and strain treaty obligations under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Escalation risks miscalculation with Moscow, while inaction may fuel perceptions of vulnerability. At stake is not only Poland's security doctrine, but also the credibility of NATO's collective defense architecture. Poland sits on NATO's eastern edge, bordering Russia's Kaliningrad exclave and Belarus, a close Russian ally. Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Poland has emerged as one of Kyiv's strongest backers, transferring tanks, artillery, aircraft, and serving as a logistical hub for Western aid. Defense spending has surged beyond 4% of GDP, among the highest in NATO. Warsaw has ordered hundreds of K2 tanks from South Korea, HIMARS rocket systems from the United States, Patriot air defenses, and 32 F-35A fighters. The procurement scale reflects a perception that deterrence must be credible, immediate, and forward-based. President Karol Nawrocki's remarks that Poland should pursue nuclear potential are rooted in that security calculus. He has framed the country as bordering an active war zone and facing what he characterizes as an aggressive Russian posture. Poland has repeatedly requested participation in NATO nuclear sharing, an arrangement under which US B-61 nuclear bombs are stored in allied countries and could be delivered by dual-capable aircraft in wartime. Currently, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and Turkey participate. In 2024, the Royal Netherlands Air Force transitioned its nuclear role to the F-35A, following the US Air Force's certification of the aircraft to carry the B-61-12 gravity bomb. The B-61-12 is a modernized variant with improved accuracy and variable yield, designed for compatibility with fifth-generation aircraft. Poland's acquisition of F-35As since the late 2010s has fueled speculation that Warsaw seeks eventual integration into this framework. In April 2025, a senior US military nominee indicated Washington was open to expanding nuclear sharing arrangements within NATO, prompting debate that Poland and Finland could be considered. Shortly after, confirmation emerged that the United Kingdom would equip its planned F-35A fleet with B-61-12 capability under its existing nuclear framework. Yet, nuclear sharing is controversial. Critics argue that transferring wartime control of US warheads to non-nuclear states would conflict with Articles 1 and 2 of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which prohibit the transfer or receipt of nuclear weapons control. Supporters counter that the weapons remain under US custody in peacetime and that the arrangement strengthens deterrence without expanding independent arsenals. For Poland, joining such a system would not make it a sovereign nuclear power, but it would embed it deeper into NATO's deterrence strategy. An independent arsenal would be far more complex. France developed its force de frappe over decades with substantial industrial infrastructure. Germany and Japan, often described as threshold states, possess advanced nuclear technology but remain bound by political and treaty commitments. Poland currently lacks indigenous enrichment, reprocessing, and warhead design capabilities. Establishing them would require years, significant capital, and likely provoke diplomatic backlash across Europe. Poland's strategic culture has hardened in parallel with Russia's war in Ukraine. Retired General Jaroslaw Gromadzinski has advocated a posture of active defense that extends across the full operational depth of an adversary. Former Chief of the General Staff, Rajmun Andreychak, has argued that deterrence requires readiness to strike strategic targets within a 300-kilometer radius, including major Russian cities if NATO territory were attacked. These statements reflect a broader consensus in Warsaw that deterrence must be demonstrable and immediate. Poland has also taken visible steps beyond procurement. Volunteers from Polish units have operated in Ukraine, and legislative adjustments have provided legal clarity for citizens participating abroad. Politically, Warsaw has framed dialogue with Moscow as ineffective, emphasizing resistance over negotiation. This context shapes the nuclear debate. Policymakers view conventional rearmament as necessary but potentially insufficient against a nuclear-armed Russia. Consider the first scenario. Poland successfully secures a nuclear sharing agreement, integrates its F-35As into NATO's nuclear mission, and hosts B-61 bombs under US control. This would significantly increase NATO's forward deterrence on the eastern flank. Russia would likely respond with countermeasures in Kaliningrad, potentially deploying additional Iskander missile systems. The strategic equation would become denser, with shorter decision timelines and higher alert postures, but within an established NATO framework. NATO. Now consider a second scenario. Warsaw pursues an autonomous program, triggering friction within the European Union and potential sanctions under non-proliferation norms. Such a move could fracture alliance cohesion, embolden other states to reconsider their status, and complicate arms control diplomacy. Russia could interpret the development as escalatory, adjusting its own nuclear doctrine or deployments accordingly. The threshold for miscalculation would narrow. There is also a third possibility: rhetorical signaling without structural change. Poland may leverage nuclear discourse to strengthen bargaining power within NATO, securing enhanced conventional deployments, missile defenses, or rotational forces instead of warheads. In this reading, nuclear ambition functions as strategic pressure rather than imminent policy. At its core, Poland's debate reflects a deeper tension between deterrence and escalation. Security planners must weigh the credibility gained from forward-deployed nuclear capability against the instability introduced by compressed reaction times. Power can deter conflict, but it can also intensify rivalry. As Russia's war in Ukraine continues with no comprehensive settlement in sight, Warsaw's choices will signal how frontline states interpret the future of European security.